Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Faith and Friends. I'm your host, your friend, and your sister in Christ, Georgia Brown Williams.
Yes.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. Hey, wifey.
Wifey. Hey, husband. That's crazy. We didn't get to say that last time.
No.
We were engaged, but here we are, married.
Married.
And literally, in a couple days, we'll be married for two whole months.
Yeah, that's wild. How you feel?
Really is. I don't think I can be honest.
Be honest.
I don't know how to really describe it yet.
Yeah.
Like, for real. I was even telling him this, y'all. It's so crazy. We were sitting on the couch after we put Ryder to bed, eating a snack. It was about 9:30, almost 10 o'clock, watching a show. And I'm sitting there in my jammies, and I'm like, I should go home. But I'm like, wait, just kidding. We're married. I live here.
Yeah, you can't leave.
No, it's crazy.
No.
Like, you really did like it, so you put a ring on it, and I'm just so grateful. So today, friends, we wanted to share a little bit of our wedding with you from our perspective, and just kind of give a little recap because we haven't really done this since we've been married. I think on the honeymoon a little bit, we sat and we talked about the sweetness of that day because, like a lot of people say, it really is a blur. It was. We ate none of the food. Just all the things.
Barely ate the cake, and I love cake.
Oh, no. The cake is in the freezer waiting on us.
Yeah.
But, man, oh, man, the Lord showed up, and that's really all I genuinely want to talk about is how he moved.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know where to begin. Where do you want to start? How do you feel? Let me ask you, how do you feel being married for almost 2 months, Mr. Williams?
It's still mind-blowing.
Yeah?
I think the biggest thing for me is, like, navigating being a husband. I think that's probably been the hardest. Fathering is I've been at this.
That's how I feel with being his bonus mom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this is good, but being a wife, this is a little...
It's so many different components.
Yeah.
And I think when we were engaged and then we were courting, there was just different seasons. Everything was different.
Yeah.
Husband was like, I mean, I was about to say the finances, like me being your fiance was like very challenging.
Really?
Like walking through that. Yeah, because I had to grow. I had to prepare to be a husband even more. And like, it's the countdown, bro. Like, you got to be here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Now it's here.
It's here. And like, I get to wake up with you and thank the Lord because I finally found my person. So I think that's the beautiful thing. It's a lot. I think we're still navigating.
Oh,
for the rest of our life.
Infants in this whole marriage thing.
Seriously, we're still navigating.
Like, we're 2 months old.
And we're trying to figure out. And it's like with church, school, sports, personal life stuff. Like, our
making time for us, ministry,
like, literally,
church,
transitions. So like
our church is moving.
Yeah, so like we're in a lot right now. So it's like we got married in the thick of it.
Yeah, but the Lord had to do it this way. It's so beautiful how I've talked about this and I'll talk about it forever. How, like, as soon as the season isn't for your good and for his utmost glory for those who are called according to his purposes, he's going to change the seasons immediately down to the millisecond. So we had to get married on June 25th on a Tuesday. So many people have been like, why'd you get married on a Tuesday? I couldn't tell you, but the Lord said it had to be that day.
But it was his day. So he wanted it to be the 25th. He wanted to be on a Tuesday.
Yep.
And
at 2:00.
And we didn't ask any specific reason why, but we just was like, okay, this is it. It was his day.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the day before. The rehearsal lunch. Since we were getting married at 2:00, I was like, I don't want to do a rehearsal dinner because that's a little later.
Yeah.
The day already of the wedding starts so early. So we did a rehearsal lunch at Maggiano's. It was so fun. Italian food, family style. Man. All of our closest family, friends, pastors. Oh, it was so special. And we did like a little black and white theme. Most of us wore black and then I wore white and I felt like a little princess. It was so special.
It was beautiful.
Thank you. It was so special, and I wish I could go back and freeze time, and I wish we filmed the whole day because that was such an edifying time. I knew that we were going to do our speeches at the rehearsal lunch, but I didn't know it was going to be 3 hours long.
No, I didn't know it was going to be 3 hours long. I knew that it was going to be some heartfelt moments, but I did not expect the Lord to show up. I didn't expect it to get the healing that I've been needing in a specific area of my life of family, which that was unexpected. I thought that was gonna come with prayer and just, over
Getting
time.
married.
Yeah. It was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get my healing. And then the Lord was like, nah, like, I think that was the first time where, honestly, in like 6-7 years, my whole family was together under one roof. It's always been broken up where some of us will be over here, some of us will be over there, some of us, but like everybody was together.
Yeah.
With my brothers and mom, dad,
siblings.
It was crazy.
Ryder.
Aunts, like it was best friends. Like it was just like bringing both of our worlds together.
To celebrate. It wasn't a funeral. It wasn't something
I might get
bad.
emotional on this one.
Come on.
No, I'm good.
I'm ready for the tears.
No. Go ahead, though.
No, but for real, it was so special. And I got to see a new side of you as I got to see the people that made you.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was going to be as edifying as it was. You see, the movies, or you've been in those rehearsal dinners where it's just like, I'm so glad that you found her. And then like a couple funny jokes or whatever. Little did I realize, like, just straight to the heart, cutting, but also sewing up of wounds of like, no, I've seen you become a man through this season. And then for them to look at Ryder and say, look at the father you've been, and now look at the husband. Like, I genuinely, you know me, I have lots of words. I had no words.
No, I think it was cool because I didn't know, I haven't had any words a lot.
I didn't know if he wanted to marry me. I forgot about this.
Yeah,
he wasn't talking to me.
I did barely talk. I like, it was so much I was feeling
for like the 5 days leading up.
It was like navigating, and I was still working in the church we're trying to finish the record, handling regular church stuff.
Everybody here.
Ryder's birthday, transitioning, everything was just going on, and me and you were just like we wasn't passing by, but we were passing by, and it wasn't intentional on my end. You don't like to pass by. You like to stop, talk, hang out, get
flowers,
coffee, like see everything.
Oh yeah.
The what's the little things you pick up?
Little dandelions.
And then the other little clovers. The clover.
Oh, clovers. Oh, yeah.
So you do all that stuff. So for me, it was just like I'm just passing through. And I remember a couple of days before, I was like, Lord, I don't want this day to miss me. I don't want to miss this day.
Yeah.
And the Lord said, you won't. And I was like, okay. And I remember when we got to Maggiano's, I still didn't know what I was going to say. And, I was a little, quiet. A lot quiet.
You didn't say nothing.
Didn't say much.
He barely held my hand, y'all.
Well, I kissed you and told you I love you, and I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
But I just didn't have words, and I didn't know I was even going to speak. I spoke for like almost 45 minutes, and which was wild. But I don't know. It was just...
You were processing, and I think it's so beautiful, and so many people wild. Can let that day pass you by. Because even for me, I struggle with that sometimes of just like skimming over the surface and not understanding the depth and allowing yourself to have that moment of healing, because these people were speaking such a life into you when so many people you felt and had been spoken even word curses over you, like he's too far gone.
Oh,
like his life's over.
Yeah, and I think even for like that moment, it was a achievement of mine. It was that milestone moment where I could say I did this. Like, y'all counted me out. Like, you counted me out. You said I'm not this. Even like to the people even in our comments sometimes, where it was like I don't know if this is it, and this ain't it for you. Like, he's too controlling and all that. And it was like that stuff. It was like you'll be asleep.
Or he already has a kid or whatever.
Yeah. And it was like discounting, and it's like people were discounting what the Lord can do, and what is still deemed beautiful in the Lord's eye. And I don't know, that day it was just like, I knew that I was marrying my person. I never had to doubt that. I knew that I was marrying my person. That never would change. Like, I knew from the day I told you in the car that you was my wife, I locked in on that, and I lived that. And it wasn't easy, but I never doubted that. But that day I was just like, man, like, I'm finally here. This is the 12-year-old Ryan's dream coming true. Finding the person that I not settle but feel safe, protected with, because as much as y'all need to be protected, as men need to be protected as well.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. And I found my my protector. You know what I'm saying? We all know the Lord is
I
our
got your
protector.
back.
Yeah, you got my back.
Yeah,
Like,
and you're my covering, but I've got
Yeah.
you. Like, I'm going to cover you in prayer. I have circled you in prayer even
Yeah.
before I knew your name, but now all the more that I know you.
It's wild.
It's the most honoring thing that I could do for you. And
Yeah.
that's something that I'm learning in my 2 whole months of being a newborn married woman, of like knowing when to be quiet and just go to the Father straight there and just be on my knees and interceding for you, because it is when you're quiet that honestly you're telling me the most.
I'm gonna cry. I love you. I wish, like, I don't know why it takes these moments to reflect, because we were constantly going so much.
We never slow down.
We never slow down. So it's like really refreshing to like sit and reflect. But I knew in the Maggianos, I was just like, there was so much, like, you know, we have our successful friends that are musicians. We have our successful friends that are in their ministry of being an influencer or pastoring, evangelizing. Like, you know, we have those. We have a beautiful world of people. And you know, you have your sisters, and I have my brothers, and we all stand together and stuff. And I was sitting in that room, and I was just like, man, this is the only time the only time we will all ever be together. Yeah. Like this.
It's one moment.
That we only get. We only get one shot. And I was telling my barber last night, because I had to get cut for this, y'all. Like, I did. I get cut for this. Because I was looking woof. Like, seriously, I wish we show like a before picture. Yeah. But no, like, I knew that I knew that the Lord wanted me to say something. But I knew that there was something that needed to be said beyond just me and you. For sure. And we needed to show the example of what God's relationship looks like for man and woman to be together. And we're not perfect, but when the Lord calls two people to come together, I was telling my barber last night, I said, and I went late, y'all, for a haircut. I told him last night, what the Lord did on the rehearsal lunch, and then on the day on the wedding, forever be marked. Yeah. I think, and it wasn't about us. Gosh.
It wasn't about us. It was about the Lord. I'm trying to hold these tears. Hold it, baby.
I'm trying to hold these tears.
No, but for real, it wasn't about us. Yeah. Because we just wanted them to see him. Because
like that's
why we're
about.
here.
Like
that's the only reason why we even got to this place.
The only reason why we got together, like the Lord literally showed his stamp of approval, because, and I know I'm jumping to that day, I know we're going to talk about it, but from the rehearsal lunch into today, the Lord stamped his approval. Yeah. And he showed, hey, I took two people that had no connection with each other.
Very black and white on every part of the scale you could measure. Amen.
Like, for real.
Beyond what the eye could see.
No, for real.
For real.
Like, from dust, and brought us together. There was no, hey, my friend wants to talk to you. It was literally, no, the Lord opened my eyes, positioned me, moved me here, moved you here. Do this. This had to go this way. Yeah. This had to get us to this place. Yeah. Like, that's the God that we serve. No, for He real. Is the ultimate chess player.
Yeah. His ways and his thoughts are truly so much higher than ours. We couldn't even understand. And, you know, someone once told me this, and this is so, like, sidebar, babe, but this is just so funny. I just wanted to tell you. So, you know how in Genesis it talks about, like, the man was made from dust? Yeah. Okay, what color is dust? Like, man, it's like orangey, like browns, right? And then the woman was made from the rib. What color is a rib?
Mine's
white,
red.
bone.
No, mine's red.
Your rib is red?
Oh, that's the ribs that I eat. My bad. Sorry, go ahead.
Babe, we're not talking about barbecue right now.
I got you.
But how crazy is that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, if the woman came from a rib, that's wild. Anywho, all that to say, I want to back up even further than the rehearsal lunch for a second. I knew for me...
Yeah, because you were fasting.
I was.
You were contending.
I was contending. Because, like we said, even with the rehearsal lunch, all these people that we invited, which we invited so many people, and that chapel did not hold that many people. I was praying. I was praying. And literally...
Thank you to the venue.
Yes, we loved our venue. It's so beautiful. If you're ever out in Tennessee, I got all the things I could tell you about. So listen, like, I knew that this was the only day that we were all going to be together. And I didn't take that lightly. Like, even on a Sunday morning at church, all those people ain't going to be in the room all together, all those specific same bodies, right? Yeah. Same hearts and souls. So I knew I needed this to be different. And so the Lord said, okay, if you want this, I need you to fast the whole week before.
Yeah.
And so I would just do liquids during the day and a small meal at night after 6 o'clock as the sun was beginning to set. And the Lord said, write down everything you're contending for. So I was praying that wombs would be opened, that marriages would be restored, that those family members that were very far from the Lord, not thinking that they were in, their right identity. Gosh, I was going for it. I was praying and just pulling down strongholds and all this stuff. And I was like, because this ain't about just a man and a woman now gonna share a last name, have some rings on their finger, and gonna live under the same roof.
Yeah.
No, this is about the glory of God. Mm-hmm. And so
that's good, baby.
I was hungry that week, and you can ask my mama. I was a little cranky, but it was worth it.
It was wild. I was sitting here thinking about this with you. Like, my stuff was so blanket. It was just like, Lord, I just want you to show up. I just want people just to experience you in a different way. Mm-hmm. Like never before. Like something that would be life-giving, that would make them, come back to you if they need to.
Yeah.
You are so detailed. And it's beautiful. Like, though, like,
you know why?
It was like, boom, be open up and all these things. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, Lord, I should have asked for more.
No, but here's the thing. He knows your heart and where you're at. But I just know for me, what I've learned over the past seasons is vague prayers get vague answers, but specific prayers get specific answers. So
what you trying to say? That was vague?
No, I'm just saying it's a blanket. Baby, don't be mad. No.
She said, you want more, you got to pray more.
Well, it's just the more detailed you can be.
But
like, we serve, and he hears just blanketed prayers, obviously, duh. But for me, I want him to know this is what I'm contending for, because he says, ask and you shall receive.
I mean, he knew. I wasn't like contending like you were contending.
But like, look at us.
I know.
We're two different human beings. The Lord says yo to you, and the Lord says beloved to me.
I know. Yo is wild.
Holy Spirit's voice in both of our lives
is way different.
It's
night and day.
Black and white.
Black and white, yes.
But no, I wrote those things down. And this shadow box here, if y'all are on YouTube, you can see it. But the shadow box right behind me is the one that I made for Ryan for the wedding day, of all of the prayers that I prayed for him, leading up into knowing him and then marrying him. But the one above that, there's another one. And it is with all of our wedding day. And I had that prayer card that I wrote of like salvations, deliverance, breakthrough, baptisms. I almost was crazy enough and brought a baptismal tank, but we didn't. But
we had a golf cart. We might as well.
No, but for real, I just think it's so important. And so if you want to see different, you got to do different. So for us, it looked like praying. We pray different than one another, but we were knowing that the God that we serve. And so, baby, for you to say you wanted the presence of God to show up like never before in people's lives, we saw that. We saw that. And we will get to that point. But pump the brakes. Let's go back. Rehearsal lunch, spent hours upon hours of just... Basically, everyone in that room said something. I didn't even know if I was going to say something because it was all said.
Everybody talked. I think it went from just a hangout to a straight ministry moment.
It was.
And it was like when I started, I immediately cried. Mm-hmm. So
it was healing.
Fast.
The Lord showed me afterward. I was like, what was all that? I was about to
ask you, like, what was you like? And it's not about me, but it was like in that moment, because you talked at the end.
Yeah.
I talked at the beginning. So... How were you receiving in that moment? Like, what were you feeling?
The Lord told me, because we were both crying, had different tears. My tears were a little different, right, than yours. Mine were just like in my eyes, and like one or two would fall ever so often. But you were wiping, right? And the Lord said, He has healing tears, and you have happy tears. You have waited for this for so long in my little Georgia Brown, like childlike faith of a way of hallmark of like, I've dreamed of this moment. And for you, you had to work for this. Yeah. You had to reclaim this territory that the enemy tried to trample over and say, nah. Yeah. But you broke off so many things generationally and just in your own story that these were healing tears. Exactly. And so it's so beautiful that the Lord got to bring healing and happy together. And I was just super grateful. But do you remember what Pastor talked about? Pastor made me cry.
Yeah, Pastor, shout out to you. I love you. That was so good.
He said there's 3 types of marriages. You remember them?
There's a treasure. And
a train wreck.
And then
there's a train wreck and a train wreck. And then there's a rare one.
Where there's a treasure and a treasure.
Yeah.
And we were a treasure and a treasure coming together. Which is wild because, I mean, he speaks so much. He does. And then of course, we know he loves us. Like, that's our pastor. That's our spiritual parents. Like, but to hear him, like, say that in that moment, it was like...
I cried.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think the one that got me the most, for me, was hearing my brother speak, how they looked at me, because I didn't know from the lens of how they looked at me. And then Kiara. Yo, that was
I wish
crazy.
I had that in here with us right now. It's on our piano. But listen, this woman of God, my matron of honor, I'm going to cry thinking about her.
That was crazy.
She didn't know what her speech was going to be. We should have recorded all of it. It was so profound, and she just looked at us with such love and sincerity in her heart, and she celebrated me so well through the whole process of bachelorette party and just buying me outfits and making me feel like a bride.
Yeah.
She took me on a trip and just loved on me, and it was just, I have no words. And she said, Lord, I what do you want to give them? I want to release a word to them. Like, what would your spirit say to them in this hour? And she prophesied life over us both in such a way that I was so moved by the Spirit of the living God inside her to speak to us. And then she's like, I'm not going to be one of those prop preachers, because she's an incredible teacher of God's word. But she said, here's a clock. And it was the cutest little black clock. And the time...
In white.
Black and white. It was stamped at 2:00. No batteries in it. And it never will. She said, I want you to always look at this clock and remember what he did at 2:00.
Yeah.
Where time truly will stand still, as she was prophesying for the day to come. And it did. When I tell you what the Lord did...
Yeah.
I can't fully put it into words, and we'll post our wedding video soon, but maybe you just need to get a clock and to time stamp it.
That's good.
And to remember time stood still.
That's good.
And what he has done and marked you in your life. Because every Tuesday at 2:00, I will remember that I got to stand before you and ultimately before the Lord in front of all those people.
Yeah.
And give myself to you. It just, we boo-hooed, and she is just such an incredible friend. Yeah. I've never experienced that before.
Yeah, that was, I think it was so crazy because it inspired so much. Everybody spoke. Almost everybody spoke.
Yeah.
And it just went, it's like for them, I feel like they were all like, it's the only time we'll ever get a chance to speak something over them as well. Like, we want to put something in the pot too.
Deposit seeds of life. If anything, edify people as much as you can.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the rehearsal dinner.
No, seriously.
Like, don't wait. Because you may not get that chance, or you may be sitting there in your seat and you don't get out of your shell to speak up.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow is not promised. We just were reading about that. Each day has enough trouble of its own, says the book of Matthew.
Yeah.
It's just so special. So we left there, and with full bellies and even more full hearts, we went to the venue, set up the sound system. The guys were getting it ready, and it was so special because a couple months before this, my songwriting hadn't been unlocked yet for like a long time. I was like, Lord, are we ever going to write songs again? Because that's what I went to college for. So hello, like, what are we doing? And we lived 10 doors down from each other. I was in 311. He was in 322, I think.
Yeah.
Was it 322? And they were working on a song one day, him and our brother KD. And I was like, I got to go really quick. I ran back to my room, and I had my little keyboard there, and the Lord gave me a song literally within 10 minutes. And it was called I Loved You First. And it's beautiful. I ran back to Ryan's house. I said, listen to this. He was like, stop. And he pulled up his production, and he produced this song within like the next hour. We had like a whole arrangement. He was like, no, go up here and play this. It was literally so, I don't even want to say the word magical because that's not true. It was so spirit led. Like it was the Lord came down and just poof. So that was in about January. Then we got engaged in February, and up into this wedding, the Lord told Ryan, hey, like, that song was actually for your wedding.
Yeah.
And so he came to me and you were like, hey, I think that song's for our wedding. And I was like, really? Because when Ryan says something.
No, you were like, you wasn't like that, baby.
What was I like?
You said, really? I don't think
different
so.
Really?
Like, I thought it was Pieces. And I was like, that's what the Lord showed me in the dream was Pieces when you walking down. So we kept that part. We was always like, okay, we're gonna do Pieces. But when that song was written, the Lord had different plans, and
I want to release it so bad.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Can we please release it soon?
Yeah, we'll release it soon. And I know for a fact, like, the Lord said it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And He told me who to sing it, and then who was going to sing it, and then we.
So we did that
walked
night.
Down to it. It was.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was crazy, right? Like, it was so beautiful. Ryan's sister, sweet Dominique, that I love so much, my sister, sang I Loved You First as I walked down the aisle. And I timed it down to the millisecond. And when I knew I wanted them doors to open for real, I was like, okay, it's after the second verse, during that instrumental part, those doors swing wide, and there it is. Like, I'll stand for the bride. And the tagline says it's really a love story between us and the Father. It's His perspective saying, I loved you first, because the tag says, even at your worst, I loved you first. And I know people may be thinking, why aren't you doing like 1,000 Years or one of them just like secular worldly songs that's all about love, or Elvis Presley, Cannot Fall in Love. I love that song, don't get me wrong, but for us, this isn't about us. It's about Him.
Yeah, because I even wanted you to walk down to PJ Morton's song it's called When We First Began.
That one's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember going through that list and trying to figure out, but I think everything had to point back to Him.
It had to.
Every single moment.
It didn't need to have our fingerprint on it at all. No. And so I come down the aisle. I'm beaming ear to ear.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see that you were crying till I got closer.
Yeah, I was crying. Like, as soon as like the song came on, I was just like.
What was the room like? Because I wasn't in there. Everybody, like, were people like, what is this?
Well, I walked in. This is the funny part. So I walked in with Pastor.
Yeah.
Well, before
was
that,
everyone
Pastor,
like, woohoo?
Pastor,
or what were they doing?
Well, before Pastor, hey, you want to pray real quick? He's like, you're the head. Like, pray. So I was like, all right. So everybody
outside the chapel.
Outside the chapel, and I was like, pray, and I just told the Lord, I said, hey, Lord, I just want you to show up. We need a touch from you. We want you to shine so brightly. If deliverance break out, it breaks out. Whatever.
Because we thought that was.
If we need to stop the wedding, we'll stop the wedding for salvation, whatever. But we know we need you.
Yeah.
You need to be here today. We have to have you today. It's not about us. It's about you. And so we walked. They let us in. And he started walking, I'm goofy. So I'm like, what's up? Like, everybody walking down.
Those pictures are adorable.
Pastor's like laughing. And literally, I stand there and he was like, you ready?
We haven't talked about this.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, you ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. And so you're walking down, but here's the moment. I see you from the window.
You already saw me?
I saw you from the window. Baby, it was beautiful.
For real.
I glanced. I couldn't stay looking at you because I didn't want to see you that way.
Yeah.
So I was looking. I wasn't even trying to. I was looking at people, and I saw you walk, and you had your veil. You had everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I was like, not your veil. You had your
cape. Your
cape on, Superwoman cape, and I saw that, and I was like, gosh. And I looked down. I was like, okay, and I just start crying.
Yeah.
So you're walking, and then the doors open, and you come in, and I'm just crying. Tears are just pouring down my face. Like, Rob's giving me he's giving me the tissue and everything, and I'm just like, bro, like, it just kept coming and coming, and I couldn't stop, and I was like, Lord, these tears gonna have to go away at some point, and I was just like, hey, baby,
hey.
It was beautiful. I was feeling so much. It's still like out of body experience.
You can't explain it.
Yeah, I really can't. Like, you just had to be there.
Oh, and something funny too is my vows were going to be on my phone, right? Because I just
Yeah.
typed them all out. 'Cause I didn't know what to say in my vows, baby. I was up the
Yeah.
night before just like, what am I going to say?
Yeah, mine came on the balcony. I was in the balcony.
The morning of, right?
Yeah, no, the morning before.
Oh, morning.
I mean the night before. And literally I was sitting in the balcony, sitting in your little hanging thing, whatever you call it.
Little egg chair.
Egg chair. I was sitting there, and the Lord started giving me pieces of it, and then that was it. And then the morning I got mine.
It was so beautiful. And so you had yours on your phone, and then I was going to have mine on my phone, but then everyone was like, it'll look better for pictures if you write it out. So what was the most special thing to me is my childhood best friend, Emma, has the most incredible handwriting in the entire world. And so she wrote out my vows for me, and it was like 4 pages long. And so I was trying to be funny in my vows at the beginning so I wouldn't like cry.
Yeah.
So I was like, on a day like today, what is there to say? I don't know. And then I started flipping through the pages. I said, but I found a few words. I was trying to laugh before I like started cutting, because in my vows, like I wanted to declare and speak such life over you.
Yeah.
It was crazy because like we probably have this on film somewhere, but I was like, I break every word curse that's been spoken over you.
Yeah.
I see only what the Father sees. And literally everyone's hooping and hollering like we're in church.
No, it was crazy because like I remember when there is a video. I think there's a video of my original vows, because I have 2 versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I cleaned it up because I feel like it was a little too like
Raw?
yeah, a little too raw.
That's okay. They got that from me.
Yeah, they got it from you.
4 pages full.
Because I let her read the original, and she was like, babe, you should have said that, all of that. And I did. It was more in a more prestige way. And
Reserved a little bit.
yeah, it was a little reserved.
And it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. No, I loved it. I feel like now the reserved side is like it's gone.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not as reserved. And that's a whole nother
I mean, the shirt
conversation.
kind of says it all. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, seriously.
Kill Jezebel.
Yeah,
Amen.
I think I'm over just being reserved. I think, and this is just talking. Like I think I'm past. I'm not trying to offend, but
I
I'm
don't
also
care
not,
what other people think anymore.
Yeah.
And I think too, like having your covering, and I think for you having my just being by your side, and being under our pastors, being under ultimately the Lord's covering and walking in obedience, who cares what anybody else says?
Yeah.
And I think too, by being in that room and showing all the people this is who we are and what we stand for, I think after that moment, I don't care, because this is just who we are.
Yeah.
We're His. And golly, after we exchanged those vows, it was crazy, baby. Remember? Because we were like, we want to take communion together.
Yeah.
And then again, in my quiet time, one of those mornings, the Lord said, no, like, you have to do it with everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what's that going to look like? So I went up to Miss Billy. Miss Billy at church is the incredible woman of God who makes our communion bread. And it's so good. She was so cute. One time she told me, she said, I forgot to pray when that first batch was in the oven. I got on the telephone, so I had to bake it again because it didn't look right.
Yeah.
She is just incredible. Spirit-filled woman. And so I asked her, I said, for the wedding, can you please make some bread for everybody? She was like, really? I was like, yes. So we had our adopted family gather around and help us get that all passed out, the communion elements. But here's the thing. You know, in a wedding where they say, like, repeat after me, even the congregation, you're not a spectator.
Yeah.
You need to come into agreement with this. And so we're going to all be in unity. I don't want you to just spectate our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what it's about. That's not why you're here. We didn't invite you here to spectate.
Yeah.
We invited you here because you're important to our story.
No.
So we got the communion elements.
Yeah.
And that's when it happened.
Yeah, I think, and I was like, we started off with Alpha and Omega.
And it wasn't even like with the Holy Spirit, like musically. It just, the Lord said, okay, boom.
And we were like, oh, everybody.
Like I almost fell over.
Like it was crazy. And it was like, we knew what was happening. We knew the Lord was about to show up. We was like, oh.
This is it.
And it was like the walking of you getting to that moment. Pastors preaching, sharing the word. Like, And then boom, we have that moment.
The elements in hand, just giving him all the glory. We give you all the glory.
Yeah.
Like we'll worship. We'll post more of those clips. We worship.
That's goofy.
Yikes. Oh, you know me. I'm about to bust out.
Oh,
no, but for real, I can just take myself right back to that moment
Yeah.
because my eyes were closed. And so literally, when I look back at the footage, I said the first time I saw it, I said, that's not what happened. Because what I saw in the spirit was like, it was crazy, right? It was just crazy. Like, truly, I do believe that the Lord and his heavenly hosts were so pleased and watching, and his ministering angels were there meeting each and every person right where they were. Like, what?
Babe, it was crazy. What was wild for me...
We weren't there. Like, truly.
No, seriously. Like, it was so crazy. And I was just like... I was holding the communion and I was like, lift them up, lift them up.
Okay, this man starts taking over because you were walking in your authority as a husband and as a pastor in that moment. You were like, sing it again. And I was like, that's my baby. That's my baby. I like had my communion in my hand and I'm like, that's him.
Yeah.
That's the one I prayed for.
Wow.
That's the one I fasted for. That's him. I knew you by your fruit. I said that in my vows to you. I knew you.
Yeah, baby.
I knew you by my prayers because I know him. You know him.
Yeah. And
so that's how we knew he was in that room. And to see everybody singing all together.
It was so crazy. And see everybody in the room worshiping.
Yeah.
You know, seeing everybody standing. And then Pastor Ty tells us a couple days later.
Yeah.
Well, a couple days.
She voice memos us on our honeymoon.
I wish I can play it. I wish I could find it. And she was like, bro, sorry to bother you on your honeymoon, but bro, deliverance broke out at your wedding. Somebody was about to throw up. Somebody was manifesting.
Yeah.
It was wild.
There was so much purity and pure worship in the room that the enemy could not stand to be in there. Yeah. And so if any, like, you know, people manifest in so many different ways. Tears, crying out, throwing up, whatever it may look like. Someone literally left the wedding and was like, I'm about to throw up.
No, seriously. And it's
that is beautiful. That is freedom.
No, it is. And I hope that person, whoever that person was, like,
I pray that they got that.
Yeah,
freedom.
And I pray they got whatever they
deliverance,
needed. Yes. Yeah, because, I mean, that's our God. Like he works simultaneously. Like he's doing this over here and then doing this over there. Like it is wild, and I'm forever marked. Not just because it's our day, but I'm forever marked by the Lord.
Oh,
because I'm like, yo, like if it ain't like this, not
I don't
marriage,
want it.
But just in general, if encounters with you is not like this. I don't want it. I can't take anything less. He can't take anything less from us. So our hearts have to go deeper. Our sacrifice, our obedience, the way we carry ourselves, our tongue, our conversations, even how we boldly start standing for the faith and how we speak out on things and not come in agreement with things. All that has to change. And I realized that in that moment, I was like, there was a shift in me.
Yeah.
There was a shift in you.
Oh.
There was a shift in our pastor. There was a shift in our friends. There was a shift in like our whole community of people.
Yeah.
They all said, hey, we come in agreement with what's happening at this moment.
Yeah.
We come in agreement with this, these two souls coming together and watching the Lord literally stamp and say, these are my chosen.
Yep. That's all we want. Because we don't care what man says. We just want his approval. That's why we're here. And so here's something else too, friends, just to tuck in your heart.
I love you, by the way.
I love you too.
I love you so much.
Don't miss it. You can be in the room, but not in the spirit.
Yeah.
Because there were a few people in the room, sadly, that didn't get it.
They were on their phones.
They were like, okay.
They just looked.
Mm-hmm. Don't miss it. Because he wants you with him. Not just here in the natural, but far greater with him in the spirit, pressing in to who he is.
You always need to have a daily encounter with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something from the Lord that you can get.
Yeah.
He's always speaking.
Always.
Gosh, I still say this sometimes, but I'll say, Lord, let me hear your whispers of what you're saying. Even like no matter what I'm going through, like my day, I don't want to miss. There's something for you. There's something for me from you. Like, you have something for me, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. He always has something, and he wants to give it to you. But are you listening? Are you yielded? Are you Yes. Do you want it?
Yeah.
For real. And
because some people just want to mosey around on Christianity.
They want a buffet. They want what they want.
They want it to be cute and very very fine tuned, where it's in a box. And that's not our God.
And some people may call themselves Christians, and they may want the blessings that come with that, but they don't want the obedience and sacrifice behind closed doors of what that looks like.
They don't want the tough conversations.
They don't want
to stand up for righteousness.
They don't want to restrain from their body.
Yeah. It's real.
Because if you want different, what, baby?
You got to do different.
And that's what we did.
And we're
didn't
not
make
perfect.
us perfect. No.
It doesn't make us perfect, but what we did, though, we yield to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And y'all see our Williams pillow? I love this pillow. Seriously, I told her, I said, babe, get this pillow out.
Shout out to Pillow Script. We love these custom pillows.
Seriously, we want more. We gotta get them for our whole family.
I know, for real. All them children.
Seriously, but I know for me, being with you changed so much, and I knew it had to be different.
Yeah.
And it was so different to even our wedding night.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. Oh, gosh, we're going to need a whole episode to talk about that. So, yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. Hold on.
We can't wait. Let's go back a little bit.
No,
okay.
I definitely want to talk about that. But, baby, I don't want to miss this, because you're going to be like, oh, yeah. Okay. Do you remember we leave the chapel, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's lined up. We did the bubble exit. We got to ring the bell of the chapel.
Yeah.
And what was so shocking for the first 15 to 20 minutes, instead of like, congratulations. Oh, you guys look so handsome and beautiful. No exaggeration, every single person came up to us and said, this is the best wedding we've ever been to. Or, I've never been to a wedding like that. Or I'm forever marked. What else?
My pastor friends.
Yeah.
From Houston, Texas, and they have an amazing church out there, y'all. But they came to me and said this was healing.
Yeah.
And it was in them to see my life from being me serving in their ministry to see what the Lord has done. Yeah, and in my ministry, and seeing what the Lord is doing. It was like they got to be a part of that and see that and say, wow, like it brought some healing to them. I don't know what exact healing they needed, but whatever it was, and I love them.
And then revival broke out at their church.
And they sang one of the songs during their staff meeting. That
we did at the wedding. Here's the thing. If you allow yourself to be yielded, you will catch the flame and you will keep it burning. And that fire on your altar will never burn out.
Yeah.
Even from our conversation today. Like, I pray that this encourages you to a place of being on fire of like, okay, how can I go do different? How can I speak life and be an edifying piece of the gospel?
But it doesn't make it easy. And that's the thing, too, they have to understand. And
what?
Being a Christian, we have to realize, once we decide to make this decision to be a Christian, die for the faith,
live for the faith.
Live for
My
the
gosh.
faith. Like, it puts you on, it puts a bullseye on your back. But it doesn't mean your days are going to be easier. Honestly, your days get really hard. But the thing is, you get to do your days with the Lord and cast your cares on Him. And I believe when we do that, we have to understand that the more deeper we go, the more higher and sensitive our spirit is.
Yeah.
And attacks, all of this stuff is real. Like, the devil starts calling out more and more of his people to come attack you or situations or torment you. We have had a lot of torment.
Oh gosh, we're about 2 months into this, and
a lot of torment. I mean, the devil,
and a lot of healing, a lot of unraveling. Yeah. It's been beautiful, but it's hard.
It's
like you
hard.
said, I really think I got this mom thing down more than I got this down.
No, I feel like you crush it as a mom. I feel like
how am I doing as a wife?
You're great, babe. I think here's the thing. I think you crush it as a wife. I think you crush it as a mom. Like what the Lord told me the other day. Like, you're finding your new I don't
even know what it means to be a Williams.
Like, I don't even know what to be Ryan as the husband. Like, I'm figuring out, I understand Ryan as the musician, Ryan as the leader, Ryan as a dad, Ryan as a creative pastor, Ryan as
a producer.
Like, I understand those type of things, but you still have, you're mother, worship leader, songwriter, podcaster, author. What else?
I don't know.
What else we want to add there? There's so many more.
Speaker. I love speaking.
Mentor.
Sister. But you're all those things too. Like, it's a lot of hats.
Gosh, I want to name them all for you because you do so much. Like, you do so much.
Well, it stems from, honestly, baby, when I was a kid, I love you. As a kid, I remember they'd be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah. And I was always so confused. I was like, why do I gotta choose one thing? And I think like, you get as much of the Lord as you want. And I'm like, well, Lord, I heard a pastor say this a couple weeks ago. He said, you know how it's a sin to steal? Don't steal from God. Yeah. You didn't take something that was supposed to be yours.
Yeah.
Don't rob from the kingdom of that. And so you can always ask the Lord, is this for me? Is this mine? Like, I want that. I want to be able to say, hey, ask, seek, knock. Is this for me? Yeah. And so it opens doors because you get as much of them as you want. And so for you, like, asking him for more producing and more, songwriting and all this stuff. And now, like, you're a pastor. It's just beautiful. I always knew I was going to marry a pastor too, but,
I didn't want to be a pastor ever.
I know you didn't, but you are. And it's amazing. So that was the wedding day. We didn't get to eat a lot of our food. We danced on the dance floor. The pictures. I know. I feel like I want to do like a short podcast episode of 10 things that I would. Yeah.
Like,
10
we could
things.
Just show it on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was so much that happened. The photo booth was amazing. That was fun.
We had the coolest
we
DJ.
got to the photo booth and it was just pictures everywhere. Because everybody was taking pictures. We
had a bouncy house for the kids. That was the most exciting thing to me for the whole day.
And
I didn't even get to be on. Anyways.
I know.
Can you rent me one for my 26th birthday?
I will rent you one for your 26th birthday.
Okay, y'all heard it here.
We'll put it in the living room.
Great idea.
I'm not playing.
Okay.
I'm not playing.
I know you're not.
All right. We'll figure out.
Our neighbors are really going to be calling.
Listen, Ryder's going to have a field day in there. And we're going to do it for 2 days.
Okay.
We're going to have it for 2 days, okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
Hey, these are your words, not mine.
I know. We'll find it. I'll find it.
It was just down to the detail. That's what I cared about was
I love
the details
the hangs.
of the day.
I love the hangs. I love the music. I love seeing everybody. They tell you not to like separate during the reception.
But we did a little bit.
We did, but I think we had to because we have our relationships together, but then we have our separate relationships and friends that don't know each other. Like, so it was just like you have friends that you haven't caught up with in so long. I had friends
Same
that
for you.
so it was just like we did that for a little minute, but it was cool. Like, I remember seeing a video of like what was the song they were all singing? That Bruno Mars song. But they were all singing like in 3-part harmonies.
I know. They were like, Georgia, come join the choir. I said, okay. And it was like you and all your brothers.
And they sang it. And then you was like, yeah. And I was like.
They were like, doing like churchy stuff. And I was trying to catch on.
No, it was cool. It was just cool to see the laughter and joy. But it's so much we can talk about that day. But I think what was the most beautiful moment for me was my first dance with you. And then like going to cut cake.
And we did a dance with Ryder.
Cake with us, and you had your song with Ryder.
Yeah.
And he was just flipping.
We did
everywhere.
the song from the Paw Patrol movie, guys. Yeah. That was the first movie we took him to together. Yeah. And it was literally, what's so crazy is I went to the beach for a week to get away. And it was the same week Ryan had his recording for the record that he was on last fall.
And those days were long.
It was long days. And then the moment that I drove into town from Florida and you finished up the record, we took that boy to see the Paw Patrol movie, and that song has been like his favorite song. Yeah. So we did It Isn't Going Down Like That and danced, and he did one-handed cartwheels all over the dance floor.
All over the dance floor.
It was just so fun and so pure. Oh my gosh, that boy by the end, all of his buttons were
all his buttons are down.
I was like, you're a problem. Like, you're so cute.
His suspenders are on his like hanging down.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
And literally, like, he'll tell anyone, he was like, I was the ring bearer. I was the ring bearer. Like, you married Dad.
He's so cool, yeah.
It was so cute. But literally, like, I think people think a wedding has to be a certain way. You have to drink, you have to do all these things, you have to do it late at night, you have to play songs that are, whatever. But for us, like, it was the most pure day. It was the most pure day.
And I struggle. Excuse me. Wow.
You getting tired on me here?
No, baby. I don't know where it came from. I remember because I struggled with that. Like, we talked. Like, we had conversations. Like, should we? I was like, the music. I was like, I got my people. I got to make sure I play the stuff. But it was just like, the Lord was just like, I can be exalted all through your whole day.
And you can still have fun.
And still have fun. And we did. And everybody had fun. Like, I loved it. I loved it to a point where...
I didn't want it to end.
Yeah. And I watched everybody have fun. I was so mad, and Bailey, I love you. Like, I was so mad because me and you was doing our press pictures, and I was looking at everybody over there having fun. I was like, I want to be over there having fun right now, but I'm taking pictures of my beautiful wife.
No, I feel it. I too, but I'm so glad we have them. But everyone was having fun with one another, which I think was crazy. It truly was just the most beautiful mosaic of all walks of life, all beautiful people, and it was stunning. But once we got over there, we're like, oh, all the food's gone. Like, there was like 2 Capri Suns left and a couple waters.
We
like,
barely ate the cake. Like,
we had so much fun.
It happened so fast.
Me and my dad's dance that we did. Were you surprised? Crazy. Me and my dad did a choreographed dance as daddy daughters should. Amen. What did you think? Was it funny?
It was funny. I did not know what to expect. I still was mind blown from the service.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was still like trying to process what the Lord did. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful seeing you do that. Me and my mom's dance was beautiful.
It was so beautiful. I love your mom so much. She's such a special woman. I wish she'd move here.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. And it was beautiful. Like, I think for her, she felt like it was like that Tony Stark moment at the end games of Avengers when he was like, when his wife said, "You can rest now." Aww. And it was like my mom was like, I don't. He's okay. I can live my life.
Yeah, like he's in good hands.
He's in good hands. Like,
I promise you, he is. He's in the Lord's hands, and I just listen to the Lord.
Yeah, it was that. It really was that, and it was so like, she was crying, I was crying. Barely danced. We just slow.
I know.
Back and forth.
I know. Just talking, crying.
Like, seriously, but it was beautiful. Like, every moment of it.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, I would just go back just to watch.
Yeah.
And that would be it.
Me too. People say, well, like the biggest thing right after we got married, they were like, what would you do different? What would you do different? And I'm like, nothing. Like, genuinely.
It was the Lord's day. It was perfect. He showed up. There was nothing else we could do. We couldn't even touch the day. Mm-mm. Like, we didn't have any input. Like, I remember Pastor was like, where y'all want to go from here? Like,
we were like,
well, no. He was like, I was like, we don't. He's like, you feel like they need to worship? I was like, no. He was like, no. He's like, yeah, I don't feel like we need to anymore. Like, he showed up. He's here.
It was like this 11 minutes of just a beautiful glory bomb of goodness.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, we got our fill. Like, it was just stunning. And so, baby, we could talk about this all day. I think we just need to show them the wedding video soon.
Yes.
So y'all, please stay tuned for that. But man, y'all, what a sweet time. We could talk about this for hours upon hours, but I think too, we want to share our wedding video with you soon so you could see a glimpse into the day. We have the sneak peek posted, of course, and a little bit of the worship moments. So you can go check those out on our YouTube channel. But come back next week for part 2 as we talk about the honeymoon.
The honeymoon.
Eep! Viewer discretion advised. Nah, I'm kidding. It's gonna be holy and fun and edifying and
it was something.
Yeah.
It was something precious that the Lord did.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I wish we could talk about it.
I know, we'll talk about it soon. So we'll see y'all next Friday for another faith-filled episode, y'all. Ryan?
No.
What?
I don't know it yet, so just
I was going to say, do you remember what we say at the end?
No, I love when you say it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There is a song on your heart only you can sing. Your voice is important. I'll see you next week. Ryan, say it with me.
Bye. That's funny. I love you.
So good.